Nightmares, me Queen Nightmare, and I am here with another video. It's gonna be a snarry one this time, as you can tell by the title, and we're gonna start a new series. If I sound hot and sweaty, is because I am. I was outside doing graduation practice. The thing is, though, when you're doing graduation practice, you're in the beating hot sun for over an hour. So, just wait until I put my robe on, which is all black because our school colors are black and orange. Oh, I'm gonna die. I'm just gonna die. You know what? You'll never see me again. Okay, this one's called Embarrassment, like I am right now, an embarrassment. It's by mysterious_wonders20. And down below, I have, the link to the original, but this is where I'm reading it as. The story. This is a Snarry Fanfic, and very much OOC. Don't like it, don't read it. Please comment to give me motivation. Nearly finished, thank you. Started sometime in 2014, finished it in July 1st, 2020. If I had to think, because I was like, wait, the 7th month, it's July. I'm losing it. Anyways, let's keep going. If it loads, jeez. Okay. Chapter 1. The Late Night Wonders and Confessions. It was a late Friday night. Also, by the way, this is a mature... I wanted to say this. This is a very mature one. It says completed, and then it's under mature. So I'm guessing there may be some sexy parts. And it has over 46 chapters, just so you know. Probably get this done in 46 years. I'm kidding. Chapter 1. The Late Night Wonders and Confessions. It was a late Friday night, and Harry Potter was out wandering the corridors after curfew. He had tears down his face, and his hair was messier than normal. The moon reflected his bright green eyes more than normal as well. Harry turned right, went up the stairs, and found himself on the 10th floor. He walked over to the wall and slid down it. Finally had enough of walking wherever his feet decided to take him. He was actually surprised that he hadn't run into any teachers tonight. He found him crying to his would have been an embarrassment. But why was he crying? His parents died 17 years ago today. That thought made him burst into fresh tears. He buried his head in his arms, his arms folded on his knees that were pulled up to his chest. That was how someone found him. Someone who had made his heart beat so much it hurt. But because he was crying so much, he didn't hear the person walk up to him. The person crouched down next to him and put his hand gently on his arm. Harry jumped from the sudden gentle touch in his arm, and he looked up to meet two beautiful black eyes. As soon as he saw whose eyes they belonged to, he put his head back down and continued to cry, but a little more quiet this time. Snape sat down next to him and took his hand away from Harry's arm. Mr. Potter, not only are you out after curfew, you're also wetting the corridor with your tears. I ask you to desist at once. Pretty much stop. Snape said in his sarcastic tone, which trying to make Harry stop crying with his dry sense of humor. Harry smiled into his arms and stopped crying, till it was no more than a few sniffles. Good. Now tell me why you are crying. Harry looked up at him, smile gone from his face. And why? My parents died 17 years ago, he said. And that brought new tears to his eyes, but he commanded them to not fall down his face. That's why you thought it was okay to be out of bed after curfew? Snape asked. No, I just do it every year. Oh, okay. So I thought this was like a new development, like he didn't know it, or like he was being teased about something. Okay, so he does it every year. Who? No, I just do it every year. I can't sleep for a week after the date. Every time I close my eyes, I see them. I see them being killed. I see my mother plead for my life, then die. I see him turn to me and cast the spell. I see the house shake and some areas collapse. He finished. A few tears escaped from his eyes. He took a deep breath and closed his eyes, seeing what he just described to Snape. His breath always had a sharp intake when he saw the part when his mom dies. A hand went to Harry's shoulder and slowly rubbed it when tears started coming out again. Why do you close your eyes when you know what you'll see? He asked in a whisper. I don't know why. I just do. It reminds me of what I need to fight for. One more thing taken away from me. One more thing I know I will probably not have. He said, eyes staring out of the window. What is that one thing that you think you'll never have? Asked Snape, now sitting next to Harry with both of his hands on his lap. Harry looked at him when he asked that. I don't know. I know. He looked back out the window. What is it, Harry? What are you thinking about? He asked in a whisper. Now he looked at Snape in his eyes. Harry said one word made him very uncomfortable. Love, he whispered. Snape looked at him and then down at his lap. I don't think it will be that hard for you to find love, Harry. The Weasel Girl is almost always hanging off your arm. I actually thought you two were in love. Harry laughed at that. He looked at Snape and smiled. No, Professor, I don't think so. The smile disappeared when he told that. Snape looked at him, eyes slightly wider than usual. I'm sure you'll find the one. They could be in this castle. Snape stood up and held out his hand for Harry. He is here at the castle. From day one, that person was always there. He always caught my eye, and I don't know why I'm telling you this. You wouldn't understand. Harry stood there looking at his professor. Snape smiled. An unfamiliar sight to him, to anyone for that matter, and started to go down the corridor. I do know, Harry. Now off to bed. Tell me tomorrow in potions class if you need to brew a special potion that will help you sleep. Good night, Mr. Potter. And he disappeared. Harry sighed and went off to bed for another sleepless night. Author's note. That's it for this chappy. Please, if you find any mistakes, leave a comment. Tell me your thoughts, and I'll be writing on the next chapter. But it might be a while because I'm busy with school stuff. Thanks. Chapter 2. The quiz and detention. We are going to be doing a pop quiz on the potion we have been learning. No books, no cheating. And everyone will be seated in order. Mr. Malfoy here. By the time Snape had finished, Harry was sitting up at the back by himself. Snape walked around handing out the quiz. When Snape reached Harry, he had a small smile on his face. He placed the quiz face down on the desk. "You may begin. You will have until the end of the lesson to complete it," he said as he walked back to his desk and began marking other work. Harry looked down at his quiz and was shocked at the questions. "Oh, I love this test." 1. Do you still need the potion? Yes or no? 2. How often do you sleep? 3. How often do you eat? 4. Does anyone else know of this sleeping problem? 5. If so, who? Please take test up now. So Harry started this so-called test and answered the questions. 1. Yes. Not all during the school week, very little during the holidays and weekends. If I do, though, I don't sleep for long. During the school year, just dinner, unless someone forces me to eat. Holidays, whenever I'm allowed, which isn't often. And yes, Hedwig, if that counts, and the Dursleys. The test was done. So Harry stood up and brought it to Professor Snape for marking. So Snape took it and looked at it. Then he shouted, at Harry, "This is not good enough! Detention, Mr. Potter, here at 8 p.m. You are dismissed. Don't be late tonight." Harry went back to his desk, grabbed everything before he left the classroom. He decided to go back to his dorm and drop off everything before going outside for the rest of the afternoon. He also changed into his Muggle clothes and left his robes and other clothes in the neat pile at the end of his bed. When he finally got outside, Harry went down to the lake. He walked all the way around the other side where it was harder to see with tall, thick grass everywhere. He lay down in the sun and looked up at the clouds, making out different shapes. Slowly, he started to drift off to sleep. Harry was woken from his little sleep when someone came crashing past, cursing someone for calling a meeting just before dinner. He might miss his detention. At first, Harry thought it was just another Slytherin. But then he realized it wasn't just any Slytherin, but the one and only head of House of Slytherin. Harry stayed still and then silently got up and followed him. Snape talked to himself all the way to the front of the gate. When he was outside of the gate, he apparated. Harry sighed and sat down out of sight. He would sit there until Snape came back, even if that meant all night. An hour before his detention, Snape came back. From the light that was around, Harry couldn't overly see him. Snape walked past. As he did, Harry saw that he was limping slightly. Harry got up, walked straight to him, not caring that he'll get in trouble and get an actual detention. "What happened?" Harry asked, grabbing Snape's arm and draped it around his shoulder, trying to help him to the castle. "Where did you come from, Potter?" he asked, trying to free his arm from around Harry's, but then stopped because it hurt so much. "I sat there waiting for you to come back." "What happened?" Snape looked at him and then whispered, "Voldemort's Death Eaters happened." That little whisper statement caused Harry to stop. "Come on, I don't have all night, Potter. I need to get to my chambers quickly," he said, walking forward, taking Harry with him. Harry helped Snape to Hogwarts, and all the way to his chambers without anyone spotting them. Along the way, he thought about what could have happened and all the possibilities with how Snape got injured. Harry was so lost in thought he didn't even realize that Snape was leaning a lot of his weight on him. Eventually, they were standing in front of Snape's door to his private chambers, somewhere deep down in the twisted paths of the dungeon. Slytherin's prince. Snape growled at the door, and it swung open. Harry contained laughter when he heard the password and focused on getting his professor inside. Peeping down on the couch, then go over to the kitchen and find the medical kit. Bring it here with a cup of coffee, and also just an empty cup. Help yourself to something to drink once you brought everything to me. Harry did everything he was told, but Snape on the couch put Snape on the couch, got the medical kit, cup of coffee, empty cup, and then grabbed a cup of water for himself. He walked back into the living room area to find Snape standing up, trying to take off his robes. Do you need help? Harry asked, walking all the way in and placing his cup of water on the coffee table next to the other cups and things. No, said Snape, a few seconds before collapsing back on the couch, folding his arms on his chest in a stubborn way. Stand up, I'll help you. So Snape stood up, and Harry turned back around to the medical kit. What do you need from here? He questioned. Bandages, the healing cream, headache potion, and the pepper up potion. When are you going to help with my robes and shirt? He said, sounding really tired. Harry ignored him and gathered everything up. When he had everything in his arms, he turned back around. The next thing Snape knew, he was standing there without his shirt. Harry had used wandless magic. Lay down. The gash on your chest needs to be fixed straight away. Snape lay down on his back as Harry came over and kneeled down on the floor next to the couch and got started on cleansing the deep gash and cuts all over his chest with healing cream. Since when do you know anything about healing people? Snape asked, halfway through getting the deep gash cleaned up and bandaged. Poppy gave me medical books last year, before school ended, and I've been learning it from there. Snape froze for a second, then said, Who do you practice healing on? He asked casually, fearing the answer. Myself? If it was even possible, Snape seemed to turn in even paler. What? I couldn't do it on any other way. Plus, at least I could heal myself after beatings. Harry continued fixing up Snape. I'm almost done. You should have a shower after this with a water-resistant charm over the cut, bandages, and creams. Then I'll check to see if your bones are broken or fractured. Snape nodded and relaxed as Harry healed him. Done. Shower, then check. Then I'll leave you in peace for a night's rest. Snape got up and walked away into his bedchambers. Harry stayed there where he was until he heard the shower running. Then he got up and packed everything away. Once everything was away, Harry went back over to the couch and sat down, drinking his cup of water. He thought about Snape and the nasty deep cut on his chest that would soon be just a scar. The water was running for 5 to 10 minutes before it turned off. My type of shower, because I don't spend a lot of time. First thing I do, wash my body, wash my face, wash my hair, and then we're good. Literally, I don't shave in the shower. I don't do anything other than wash my hair, body, and face. That's it. That only takes me 10, maybe 12 minutes. That's it. Because I hustle, but I don't miss it. If I miss it, I go back in and do it. So that's what I do. Before it turned off, and a few minutes later, a dry Severus Snape came out with only pants on. Ooh, honey, yeah. Yum. Harry got out and pointed to the couch. Come on, I wanted to get you fixed up into bed as soon as possible. Snape walked over and laid down. You need to lie on your stomach. So he turned over. Harry kneeled down again and started chanting. He stopped the chanting and looked at Snape, who was looking at him. Close your eyes. Relax. Just listen to the words I'm saying. Harry waited for until Snape closed his eyes, and he started chanting again. This time, Harry placed his hands on Snape's lower back. What the hell are you doing? Snape snapped his eyes open and propped up on one of his elbows. I'm just healing some bruises I found on your back. Then I'll get started on your bones. Now lay back down, close your eyes before you hurt yourself more. Snape did as he was told. Why was he even listening to orders from an 18-year-old? 18? He doesn't turn 18 until 8th year's done. Am I wrong? Or is it before 8th year he turns 18? Because I got so confused. No, first year is 10. Yeah, he's not 18 until after 8th year's done. Or when he defeats Voldemort. Just saying. Sorry. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Yeah, 17. He would have been 17 on his 8th year. So, just ridiculous. No one has ever dared him to listen to their orders. Well, maybe Dumbledore, Voldemort, and his own parents. But no one, especially someone younger, has ever done that before. But Snape was too tired and sore to argue. Relax, whispered Harry in his ear. You're not listening to my words. Snape listened to his words and smiled when he understood the words. Well, more like a song. He tapped his fingers along to the song. He secretly liked it. It was one of his favorite Muggle songs. It was called Country Road by John Denver. The song came to an end as Harry also lifted his hands away from Snape's lower back. Harry moved his hands up to his shoulder blades. Any requests, Slytherin Prince? He asked with a smirk. Snape thought for a moment, then decided to test the boy's knowledge of songs. Yes, a song called Give Me Regards to Broadway. Give my regards to Broadway. He said with a smirk, knowing the boy would not know it because it was an old song. But to his surprise, Harry started singing the song while fixing bones and bruises. Snape requested 3 more songs before Harry was done. As soon as he was finished, he got up on shaky legs. Okay, sorry, my teacher just emailed me. And got himself a glass of water and then sat back down on a comfortable-looking armchair. Snape turned over and sat up. He reached forward and grabbed the abandoned coffee cup, warming it up, and then downing it. He then grabbed the 2 potions and mixed them together in the other cup. After he also drained them, he turned to the young man sitting in the room.
Harry?
Snape whispered. Harry opened one eye and did a little slight nod to show he was listening.
Have you got any energy to go back to your dormitory?
Snape asked, getting up and standing next to the young man in his chair. No, I don't think so, Harry said, closing the open eye again. Snape bent down and whispered in his ear.
Who do you like, Harry?
Snape knew that Harry was so tired that he would answer my question. Oh no! I don't understand it, but yes, a lot of people do this to me because I'm like, not gonna tell you. Then when I'm tired, they're like, who is it? Who is it? I'm like, I don't spit at them, but one time I tried to. You was what he was said before soft snores and even breathing was heard. Snape straightened up with a smile on his face. He reached down and grabbed the young man, from the chair and half carried and half dragged him into his room. Uh-oh. Snape placed Harry down underneath the sheets and climbed in next to him. After he got undressed until he was wearing nothing but boxers. Running his hand through the ruffled black hair, he whispered to the young man, "At least you'll sleep tonight." Before he, too, was calmed by sleep from exhaustion. Author's note, that's it for this chappy. Please, if you find... Okay, it's the same one. It's the same note from last time. I'm waiting for this to be... Come on. Yes, State of Survival is pretty cool. Come on. Come on. Yeah, yay. Okay, finally. Sorry. I was losing brain cells. Chapter 3. The next morning and day. I know I haven't done POV yet, but I'll do it for this chapter. And I'll go back to being third person POV. Well, it's good to have, especially in fan fiction. It's a fan fiction. It's not like a novel where you have to have one or the other, which actually in a novel I've written, it was just a random novel I came up with. In that novel, I have two different ones. Like, it's the boys' POV and then it's the girls, but it's separated by a symbol. And it's done in a lot of books if you actually pay attention. Harry's POV. Usually when I wake up from sleep, I can sense where I am, what is around, and what is around. I've been able to do it since I was little, because I was always afraid of the Dursleys being up before me, so it became a habit. I still had my eyes closed. I was on my side facing a wall. I turned over to lie flat on my back and and focus on my surroundings. It was dark and cold. I was in a double bed. I sensed someone next to me, and last night's happenings came back. Snape injured, limping badly, Snape's private chambers, me healing Snape, taking shower, falling asleep on a comfortable-looking armchair. I sat up with speed faster than a golden snitch, and tried to be one with the cold stone wall. Well, as much as I could. I stared at the onyx eyes that were staring back with an amused glint in them and a raised eyebrow. "Morning," was the first thing he said with that deep, silky voice. Oh, honey, I can just, rawr. Like just any man with a deep, silky voice that can know how to use it perfectly. Perfect. What was so strong? That was so strong coming from Snape's mouth. I would have never thought in a million years that I would one day wake up and hear did I say it? Chapter 3, the next morning and day. Sorry. I don't think I said what chapter it was because I'm losing my mind. Okay. I would never thought in a million years that I would one day wake up and hear that from his mouth. Actually, scratch that. I thought I would never get to see, let alone be, in Snape's own bed. Even that might give me shivers and goosebumps. Morning, I said back nervously, not knowing what was to happen next. Snape held out his hand with one lazily raised eyebrow, shifted slightly towards me. "Come back under the covers. You have goosebumps because you're cold." "I don't want someone I like." Snape put the emphasis on those two words, "I like," getting a cold after they healed me. I so likely allowed them to stay in my bed. Snape had finished and was watching me with those stunning onyx-colored eyes. Okay. I nervously stuttered. While I removed myself from the wall and accepted Snape's hand, I slid back under the covers, still holding his hand, and loved the feeling of being warm again. The hand lured me towards the heat that was seemingly seeping from his body. I couldn't resist and went with the hand, turning over as I faced the wall, back pressed against the smooth, hard, reassuring, warm chest. "Is that better?" His husky voice whispered in my ear, where his chin was resting on my shoulder. And all I could do in response was shudder and nod my head, quite dumbly. Why are you doing this to me? It's not like you actually like me, do you?" I asked because I wasn't sure how or why he was doing this. And even questioning him knew that questioning him would be the right way to go about it. "Last night, you told me you liked me. I was so happy because I liked you too, Harry. No matter what you like, no matter what you think, I do return the same feelings." Snape snaked his arms around my waist and brought me back against him, as he was trying to make us one person. As if he was trying to make us one person. I told you? I don't remember that part of the conversation. I turned my head so I could look him in the eyes, but was distracted by the set of slightly pink lips right there in front of my eyes.
You sort of might have been half asleep when you told me.
Snape turned it into a question to see if I would approve of his choice and see me react. So you took advantage of my sleepy state to find out who I liked. Then you found out it was you yourself, and you took me to bed, undressed yourself until you were in your boxers, and then climbed in next to me. That's it? You didn't fumble under the covers, did you? I asked, not sure if I could trust him, but I knew if I wanted this to become a relationship, I knew trust would have to start somewhere.
That's exactly what happened. And I swear on my heart that I didn't touch you in any sexual way.
Snape said, nuzzling my neck with his chin and placing a soft kiss on it. I moaned and pressed up against his warmth. Wait, where is this going? My dude! Pressed into his warmth. How come I could never find anyone until now who knew how to hold me, make me feel right and loved, knew how to handle me with softness and care, offering nothing but love in return for love back. Oh, guys my age don't know how to cheat. Guys my age, Hey Violet, listen to that song, and this is pretty much what it's reminding me of. But how could I be so sure that this was love? How could I know that this isn't just some set up to make me look like an idiot for falling for a professor that will always end up in complete utter embarrassment when rumors are spread? I pushed him away from me. He let go, and I climbed over him quickly to get to the other side and went to the bathroom, locking myself in there until I had calmed down enough to not shake. When I finally emerged from the bathroom 5 minutes later, there was no Snape in the bedroom. So I went out through the door and cautiously made my way into the room outside. There was Snape, still without a shirt on, sitting at the 4-seated table, drinking a coffee and reading the Daily Prophet. But as I come out and more into the open, he must have detected my movement, because his eyes snapped up and stared hard at me.
Are you okay?
Snape asked, whispered so softly that I thought I had imagined it. But when he placed the paper down and started getting up was when I started to bring myself back to reality and started walking cautiously towards the table, taking a seat on the other side of the table. Diagonally. You understand what the other side of the table is? Diagonally is not the other side of the table. I'm thinking other side of the table, like right across from him, not diagonally. It's a 4-seat table. You mean right next to him or the other side? Diagonally across from him. So we weren't facing each other exactly. So you should have said sitting right next to him. Unless it's a rectangle table and he's at the wide side and you're at the head of the table, or it's vice versa. I'm sorry. I have never done this before. I have never let anyone treat me like this. They would
be very angry if they found out. I broke their number one rule. I stared at my hands so my hair fell forward, covering my eyes, which were about a bit glazed over. Harry, who are they? Snape asked, reaching over and brushing my hair aside. I flinched at the contact. He immediately pulled his hand away. Harry? He asked, a little more force in his voice. Who are they? And what have they done to you? You called me Harry. I glanced up at him, a sad smile on my face, and then looked back down to my hands. I started shaking and my tears slipped down my face and fell onto my hands in my lap. I heard a chair scrape back, and a moment later strong arms were around me, pulling me over to the couch. I was placed on a lap and held against a strong chest. One arm around my waist, holding me there. The other cradled the back of my neck, and sometimes carding fingers comfortably through my hair. As I revealed some of the memories that popped up, I muttered things like, "Yes, sir," and "Sorry, sir. I'll be better." After a few minutes of muttering, I snapped out of the trance and turned to Severus. I will call him Severus in my mind. My relatives had rules for me. I have broken almost every single one, I told him with a sigh. But the three biggest ones were, you will never let anyone love or care for you in any way. If you turn out to be gay, you will be kicked out of the house and show any disrespect. You will get a beating and loss of food. I laughed very darkly at this and rested my head on Severus's shoulder. I broke those three while I was staying with them. I broke the second one just after the battle with Voldemort. Wait, I thought all the Death Leaders were locked up. I guess I was wrong. So I'm seeing that. So Snape never died. Malfoy's still in the picture, and he's not being a little dick about it, so that's good. I broke those three while I was After I battled with Voldemort last year. Here I felt Severus flinch, and I need somewhere to stay. Well, Hogwarts was being rebuilt. Dudley, my cousin, caught me with my summer fling. Once again, I chuckled darkly as I remembered what happened. Dudley walked up to us and ripped me from my fling, Jay, and started beating me in front of him. Of course, Jay, being a karate master, came to my defense and protected me. But then later on, he left me for his ex. I was just used to make his ex-boyfriend jealous. Severus seemed to be shocked as I told him a little bit of information that with such an empty voice. I closed my eyes and enjoyed the feeling of being held by those strong hands. I loved the way I felt protected, the sound of my racing heart. It made me feel so joyful to hear something so alive, so fragile, so mouth-watering, something I haven't felt in ages. Severus and I sat there together, making no noise or movement. I almost fell asleep because of his warmth. felt so safe sitting in his strong arms. He stayed silent and placed a few light kisses on my hair, and I snuggled in and fell asleep. Author's note, sorry that I haven't been updating. And you know what it is like for teenagers and on school holidays. Yep. I have started writing the next chapter, so hopefully that will be up soon. Anyway, it is nice to see that some people have stuck around and wanted me to continue the story. All right, that's it. Don't forget to leave a comment and how it is. Wait, what time is it? Okay. Only 45 minutes. We got this. Chapter 4. Can we? Can we what? My dude, what? Tell me! No! Harry was stirred from his little nap. Wow, that came out of nowhere. Harry was stirred from his little nap when Severus shifted around to lie down. Harry looked down at him, still sitting up, and tiredly raised an eyebrow. Are you going to lie down, or is your rat's nest affecting your hearing of yours? Severus said sarcastically, holding out his hand to Harry. Harry grabbed his hand and lied down on top of Severus. He was still too short, so he was once again listening to the sound of the heart. I'm bored now. Same, Harry stated while leaning back to look into his onyx eyes. But he wasn't staring into those eyes for long, because he became distracted with a certain pair of pink-colored lips. What do you want to do? Severus's husky voice whispered, which made Harry shiver. Harry leaned forward as he was closer to Severus's face, and tried to huskily whisper back his reply. Can we? Harry was finding this difficult to say, so he just gave up. Don't worry. Don't worry about it. Severus chuckled at his young lion's incapability of speaking at this moment of time, and snaked his arms around Harry's back and brought him back down again. After a few minutes of silence, Harry thought he might say something to Severus about reluctantly leaving him to see his friends. Harry turned his head so he could look him in the eyes, but was distracted once again in the set of slightly pink lips. Wow then, boy! Right there in front of his eyes. Severus chuckled and leaned his head forward. Harry moved his neck so Severus could get better access to his neck. Severus nuzzled his neck with his chin, placed a soft kiss on it. Harry moaned and pressed into what seemed to never-ending warmth. That's when Harry started freaking out. He hadn't had anyone who made him feel this way before. Yes, Jay kissed him, but that was it. Nothing more. No tingles. Okay, kid, you need to a little bit calm down. I know that this is problematic because it's some emotional scars, but he needs to tell Severus everything, not just little things, because he needs to be honest. I know it's hard, but he needs to be, if this relationship's going to work. Yes, Jay kissed him, but that was it. Nothing more. No tingles on the lips or zaps when their skin touched. Harry pushed away from him and walked backwards into the hall and hit the wall. Severus's eyes snapped up and stared hard at Harry's. Are you okay? Do you want to leave? Is it because what happened this last night, or And this morning, was it too much for you? Do you even want to be with me? Severus got up off the couch and very slowly, cautiously made his way to stand in front of Harry, but not touching him. The concern in his voice was quite obvious. I'm fine, Harry said, taking a step forward towards him. I don't want to leave. But should I? I should leave, not because of what happened, but because my friends must be worrying about where I am. It was not enough for you to get rid of me yet. And yes, I do want to be with you. Very much, Harry said with a force of confidence that shocked both him and Severus as he stepped closer with each word when they were both pressed up against each other. Harry wrapped his arms around Severus's neck. He wrapped his arms around and Severus wrapped his arms around Harry's waist. Harry rested his head on Severus's shoulder and sighed, enjoying his warmth before he left. Okay, excellent. Well, you better go. Please come back, Harry. I will welcome you with open arms. We can take it slowly, okay? Please don't tell anyone of this, whatever this is. I'll see you later. He placed a soft kiss on Harry's head and stepped away, moving towards his doors and holding them open for him. Harry walked out of the door with a smile and turned back, fixing his uniform and hair to the best of his abilities, and he thanked Severus and told him he would be back before he turned around and walked away. Remembering the sound of that heartbeat will all the way up to the common room. That's it for the chapter review to let me know how it is so far. Next chapter, Harry talks with his friends and is the Romiano. Is it Romeo? Romantic rumors. True or not? The Romian. Oh, okay. I was like, what is Romian? It's Ron and Hermione. Yikes. Harry talks with his friends, and is the Romian romantic rumors true or not? Find out soon. Sorry about that. By the way, I read the whole next chapter without recording, and I feel stupid. So, I'm going to give you a warning, because this chapter will literally want you to murder someone. Yes, I said murder in a YouTube video, and I said it again. I'm not going to say who, because you're going to hate everything, and then I found out why he likes the sound, and that it sounded delicious with the heartbeat thing, if you remember that, like a couple seconds ago. But anyways, seconds ago for you, 2 hours ago for me. I was literally taking a break, eating some chips, and screaming about how prostitutes and druggies are the same as regular human beings because of them being low risk, and serial killers can actually kill them without anyone noticing. Anyways, let's go on. Chapter 5. Friends? ? Upon entering the Gryffindor common room, Harry spotted his friends over by the fire in what seemed to be a heated discussion. Making his way over to them, Harry noticed that their conversation was under a muffling spell, so no one could make out what they were saying.
With their backs turned, Harry decided to have some fun with them. He stealthily sneaked up to his dorm and grabbed his invisibility cloak. Coming back down invisible, Harry tickled Ron on his side, then proceeded to do the same with Hermione with his other hand. They both wiggled around and started tickling each other, thinking that the other has started it. They both fell on the floor, clutching their sides with pins and needles, laughing so hard. Harry took off his cloak, stepping over them, and sat down on the couch. They both looked up at him and glared at him when they realized what just happened. He cheekily grinned back and pumped his fist in the air. "Victorious! Once again mine!" Ha ha ha! Laughing like a madman. Harry helped his friends off the floor and up onto the couch. "Where were you last night? We were both worried sick." Hermione slapped him on the arm after giving him a quick hug. You know what yesterday was, and I just had to get away. I ended up finding someone. We're going to start a relationship, but we are going to take it slow," Harry said, slowly looking down at the floor. Harry and Hermione shared a worried look over Harry's head. Scooting closer, Hermione wrapped one of her arms around his shoulder. The other hand rested on his leg. "Do you mind telling us, Harry? Who is she? Do we know her?" Hermione softly spoke, squeezing both his leg and shoulders. Ron lightly touched his arm and then leaned back on the couch. I don't mind who she is, as long as she isn't a Slytherin," Ron muttered and then softly laughed at himself. They're acting like the mother who's like, "Tell me," keeping them close, be like a secret. And then Ron is like the dad, "I don't care, just as long as blah, 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 blah," protective dad kind of thing. I don't care, but I do care at the same time. Warning, this is going to be triggering. And you have been warned, and I'm not going to tell you when to skip it because it's not as bad as last time in the Dreary one. It's just sad that this is the type of thing that happens nowadays, too. Harry looked up and glanced at both of them. Hermione looked worried, and Ron looked really relaxed. There's something I need to tell you both. That got the attention of both of them. They sat right up and stared at him. Do you think you could put the shields back on, Hermione? She nodded silently and then nodded again after waving her wand in a smooth line and then circle. Harry rubbed his back of his neck, gathering up his courage. He looked them both in the eye again. This isn't easy for me to say, okay? I am. I'm gay. Also, I'm a vampire. See, this is why he said that it smelled delicious. The heart. Yeah. It was as if Ron and Hermione's world had just stopped, because they both stared at him with wide eyes and gaping mouths. But as quick as the silence begun, it was over. Ron's face went bright red, and foul words started spitting out of his mouth before he pushes Harry to the ground, starting to beat him. Fists and legs connecting with Harry's body. Hermione just sat there, watched with a smirk as Ron beat him up. Gathering his vampire strength and speed, Harry grabbed Ron's fist that was going for his rib cage and twisted it. He then stood up, ran up the staircase to his dorm room, grabbing everything from the floor,
and in the timetable. He placed it in his trunk, then he shrunk it and placed it in his pocket. He scanned the room and then running out with his vampire speed. Out in the common room, everyone was gathered around Ron and noticed as Harry ran with super speed out the door. Harry closed his eyes and ran. He just followed where his feet wanted to take him. It only took a few seconds before he arrived at his destination, Severus's quarters. Harry took a second to collect his mind, and then knocked on the door. Hearing a deep voice telling him to enter, he proceeded into the man's quarters. "Sev, I need..." Harry didn't finish because he smelled that someone else was in the room. He looked up and found Severus standing near the fire, the top of a platinum blonde hair. "Is something wrong?" Severus approached him and noticed the tears. Grabbing Harry's face in one hand, he tilted it back so glossy green eyes focused on him. "What's wrong? Why have you been crying?" "They don't care for me," Harry whispered out furiously, forgetting about the blonde prat on the couch. "No one does anymore. Apart from me," Severus finished for him, grabbing one of Harry's hands. He pulled him over to the couch and sat down next to Draco, before pulling Harry onto his lap. "I'm here for you, and you aren't alone anymore," Severus said gently, rubbing Harry's back with one hand while the other held his head against his chest as he cried. "What's happening?" a quiet voice asked from behind them after a moment of silence filled with soft sobs. "You wouldn't believe me if I told you," Harry hiccuped, wiping light red tear streaks off of his face before facing Draco. There's so much to tell." "Indeed there is. However, if you want, I can try making a summary for him, if you like." Severus whispered into Harry's ear. He got a nod in return before Harry buried his head into Severus's neck as he begun thinking of a little summary. "I wonder if he can drink human blood, or if it's like a Vampire Diaries thing. You lose your humanity and just have to drink blood all the time or something like that." Yes, I watched a little bit of Vampire Diaries, and no, I didn't watch all of it. I literally watched the beginning, some of the middle parts, and then the end. Basically, I know the whole story in short little pieces. Anyways. So he begun thinking of a little summary. Where to begin? First, let's start how I found him Thursday evening. Severus went on to explain everything that had happened in the last 48 hours. Of what little he knew of Harry's past, after he finished, Draco sat still, looking at the fire and contemplating on the information he had just been told. "I'm sorry I was nasty to you, Harry. If I had have known of your rough..." I don't know why I'm having an accent when I don't even mean to. "I might have left you alone a lot earlier than when the war ended," Draco said with honesty that even Severus had a smile at the two young men. "Thank you. Apology accepted, but one thing neither of you know is that I became a vampire just after the war ended." Oh yeah, it's like telling someone something that's important, but forgetting to tell them that. That's how stupid I feel sometimes. Draco seemed to be shocked, and Severus guessed from the red tears he had seen Harry try to hide. "But the reason I'm upset is because I told Ron and Hermione that I'm gay, as well as a vampire, and the reaction was bad. Let's just say that I probably won't be friends with them ever again. Harry ended in a whisper, leaning into Severus for comfort. Draco shook his head in anger. Severus held Harry's hand in a loving and caring way. I don't want to talk about my turning in detail yet, but just so you know, if I have some type of red appear in my eyes, that there's nothing to worry about. It just means that I need to go and feed. Harry explained wearily. He was afraid the same reaction would be met with this statement, but was pleased to see acceptance in both of their faces. Draco stuck out his hand and locked eyes with Harry. Truce? If you want as well, you can hang out with me and my friends. Grabbing his hand and shaking it, Harry relaxed into a true and bright smile for the first time in a while. That sounds good, Harry smiled before turning to look at Severus. Can I actually get resorted into your house? What do you mean? Severus questioned, baffled. I was meant to be sorted into Slytherin, but I asked not to be in it because I thought Slytherins were all evil. When I was just about to get sorted, he answered sheepishly, looking down at the carpet. Right here is when I noticed that my thing wasn't recording last time. So I was like, are you effing kidding me? So that's where I'm at right now. So, yeah. So 13 minutes of not being, I was not a happy camper. Let's just say that. I will ask the headmaster tomorrow at breakfast. But for now, I think it's time for a late lunch. They all stood and made their way over to the small kitchen table. Harry sat next to Severus and Draco sat across from him. Harry didn't feel like eating anything, so he just sipped on the goblet. Wow, that came out of nowhere. Sipped on the goblet of deer blood. Crap. Severus and Draco were talking about something, but Harry was too busy thinking about Ron and Hermione to focus on anything around him. I think I might get a start on my homework, Harry said distantly as he stood from the table and made his way to the black rug in front of the fire. Pulling out his trunk, Harry enlarged it, grabbed out the required items, shrunk it again, got cozy before getting lost in his homework. Author's note, this is where I'll leave it for now. Don't forget to vote and leave a comment for how you think I'm doing. If there is an error as well, I would love you to leave a comment. That's all for now. Okay. Chapter 6. Oh, crap. Yeah, Chapter 6. Disastrous dinner dining. Dinner dining. Okay, I like that. I'd like the 3 Ds. Disastrous dinner dining. That's cool. Harry? A soft voice said from somewhere behind him. But Harry was too focused on finishing his homework that he didn't register someone calling his name. A hand rested gently on Harry's shoulder, startling him and making him whip around with his wand out. Seeing who it was, though, Harry sheepishly looked down and put his wand away. Sorry, Draco, he whispered as he sat up on the carpet, stretching his cramped muscles. You startled me. Oh, it's okay. Draco smiled softly, helping Harry to stand up. We just wanted to tell you that it is almost dinner time. Looking around, Harry saw Severus sitting in his armchair, smiled shyly at the man. Glancing behind him on the mantel, he spotted the cloak, which he which told him he had about 10 minutes until dinner started. "I'm not really hungry," Harry spoke, bending down and neatly packing everything into a small pile. Enlarging his case again and placing his items in it, Harry heard a deep chuckle from above him as shiny black shoes came into view. "Nonsense. You will be attending dinner," Severus ordered firmly, pulling Harry up, looking him in the eyes. "And since you are staying here, you might as well put that in your bedroom. In our bedroom." Ooh! Yes! I'm just waiting for Draco to go, "Yes, Queen!" Because I would do that if I was Draco and my godfather is getting some, and I made a new friend, and I'm like, and he pretty cool though, I'll be like, "Yes, Queen, get you some." It'd be kind of awkward though because he's my godfather and he's dating someone my age, but I mean, I'm at that point where I don't care because I'm getting along with that person. If I don't get along with that person, ooh, we have problems. And if that person's a bitch, then we have even more problems. Okay, sorry, I had to say that. Severus ordered firmly. "Oh yeah. You can put that in our bedroom." Glancing down, Harry stared wide-eyed at his trunk and gulped. Warm fingers touched his chin and forced his head up. Locking eyes with Severus, he blushed and tried to turn his head away, but those damn fingers wouldn't let him do it. "If you don't want to share a bed with me, you can have your own. I won't pressure you into anything." Harry stared at those chocolate brown eyes and melted into an embrace from the man. What the fuck is Draco doing at this point? Like, taking pictures like, yes, that angle. Ooh, wait till I show Mother. She will be happy finally that he's not a bachelor. Oh, man. Listening to that heartbeat again gave him shivers. They stood there, getting and giving comfort from each other, when they heard a cough from behind them. As much as this is adorable to watch, sarcasm dripped from Draco's voice. "I only have 5 minutes to get to dinner without being late." Severus and Harry pulled apart and still stood near each other. Flicking his wrist, Harry sent his trunk to Severus's bedroom, where he was going to go as soon as he got back. And he can perform silent and wandless magic. Will the miracles never cease? Draco's voice also dripped with sarcasm as he pinched his nose before looking hard at Harry. Glancing at the man beside him, Harry found dark eyes locked intently on him, and he turned his head away, blushing as the never-ending dark pools stared into his soul. A warm hand gripped his own hand, squeezed and retracted before all three of them headed to the door. Walking in silence together, they made their way up to the Great Hall. They were almost at the Great Hall when Severus stopped by the door. Turning the two boys, he hugged Harry quickly and stared at Draco. "Take him with you and sit next to him. I would suggest placing Mr. Zubini next to him." Severus turned his gaze onto Harry. "I'll see you back at my quarters once you have finished." With that, Severus walked through the door with a sweep of his cloak. Draco grabbed Harry's arm and dragged him along to the main entrance. Upon entering the hall, Harry noticed the way everything seemed to stop and focus on him. Every single eye apart from a dark pair, watched as he made his way with Draco over to the Slytherin table. As soon as he sat down between Draco and Blaze, everything came back to force with full blast. Imagine sitting in a hall with kids yelling things out constantly. Now imagine you're a vampire sitting in the hall with kids yelling things out constantly. Oh, the earache. Oh, my ears are so sensitive. I can't do that. No. I can listen to heavy rock music. I can't do the other thing though. Harry nodded as he picked up his cup and drank the sweet red liquid. Glancing up, he saw that the whole hall was focusing on him. Everyone had forgotten about dinner, and were all staring at him and talking about him. Looking at the Gryffindor table, he saw many disgusted and angry looks being shot at him, but the ones that hurt the most was from all the ex-dorm mates and Hermione. They all glared nonstop at him, and it made him completely uncomfortable. Going from the Gryffindor table to the Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff tables were a bit weird. It seemed half of the Ravens found it interesting, and the other half were debating seriously while glancing at him with different emotions. Hufflepuff table found this as a good time to gossip, stare, and giggle behind their hands. Many of them were disgusted and disappointed looks set on their faces. The Slytherin table. There didn't really seem to care. It was no loss for them, so they stayed out of his business and gave him a feeling of welcome. Although there were a few who did protest, but were quickly shot down by surrounding housemates. The staff table seemed to be a mixture of actually adults who got on with dinner and children who also stared and talked openly about their opinions. Dumbledore, McGonagall, and Flitwick were in a heated discussion about safety of the children since finding out that he was a vampire. All in all, it didn't seem to be as bad for now. Boy, was he wrong to say that. Oh, no! Okay, warning, I guess, for anything that comes up next. Ugh, the hall was settled down a lot since the start of and most of the students had started to eat. Although, when Harry looked around again, majority of his ex-friends were still glaring at him. He shifted his gaze back down again and took another sip from the goblet half full of blood. Sighing, he turned his head to watch Draco. Draco was talking to Theodore Nott, whom was sitting across from him. Theodore seemed to be a pretty relaxed guy, but he was pretty self-aware. You could tell that from a mile away. The way he sat up straight and carefully cut up his food before taking small bites screamed out that he was knew how to behave properly like a majority of the students at Hogwarts. A feeling of pair of eyes on him, Draco and Theodore turned towards him, both raising an eyebrow at the same time. That made Harry giggle a little. "Something amusing, Potter?" Theodore said with a flat tone. Harry looked at him, and his face dropped as he took the unimpressed look on Theodore's face. Harry turned around in his seat and grabbed his goblet again. This time, why won't it come off? There we go. I was taking an earring off, and I was like, why is it taking so long to take it off? Okay. Harry turned around in his seat and grabbed his goblet. this time sipping on it until it was all gone. Okay. Ouch. Harry sighed and rested his head on the table where the plate would have been if he was hungry. But unfortunately, today was just turning him off of food. "What's the matter?" Draco leaned in, whispered, placing a hand on his back. "I have a feeling that everyone hates me." Harry turned his face to stare at Draco and sighed. "There's only a few people I think would accept me for now." "Potter's gay from Malfoy! Look at them!" A shout from Gryffindor table got everyone's attention, and soon the whole hall was focused on them. Harry hid his face in his arms and groaned. Weasley didn't know when to shut his mouth, apparently. Draco straightened up and glared at everyone who looked at them before he stood his hands, placed them on the table, and spoke in a deadly tone. "Me and Harry are not dating. If anyone would be able to date me, it would be my boyfriend, James. And no one else." The whole school gasped, looking between Draco and James Carton, sitting next to Draco. "Who's to say you aren't having a threesome?" This was said by Granger. "That's enough!" Harry stood up and jumped over the 3 tables to get to the Gryffindor table. He ran up to until he was face to face with Weasley and Granger. "What are you going to do?" "Poofter." "What? I don't get it." Weasley taunted, bringing his face close to Harry's. "Are you going to kiss me like you do to Draco?" That was the final straw. His eyes flashed red, and Weasley stepped back in fear. There was shouting from the head table, but both boys were focused on each other. In a quick motion, Harry darted forward and wrapped a hand around the other's neck, squeezing gently. At first, but then harder, as he lifted his opponent feet off the ground. But before he could throw Weasley across the hall, a magical shield was put between them and sent Weasley crashing to the ground. Harry flying backwards to land in a position with one hand on the ground and pretty much a superhero landing, I'm guessing, outstretched with a bent into his chest. Harry stood back up and tried to run at the other thing that wasn't surrounded by red. But he found that there was something stopping him reaching his goal. That didn't stop him from trying, though. While Harry was in a rage mode, all the teachers had come rushing to Weasley's aid. All but one. Severus made his way past the redhead, literally, and made his way to his struggling young man, seeing the red in his eyes. "Harry, you need to calm down," Severus spoke calmly. Well, that was calmly as I can be right now. And placed his hands on Harry's shoulders, giving them a soft squeeze and shake. Harry's view of Weasley disappeared, and his vision became fully red. With his new smell sense, he took a sniff of the air to try and find his missing prey. But all he could smell was something he couldn't quite describe. So taking in another sniff, and found that what he was smelling was almost like it came from heaven. His vision came to a clear, and his senses came back. Taking in one more sniff before his vision fully cleared, Harry remembered that his master had told him, When the time is right, you will find your mate.
Oh, jeez! I didn't even try to find... Oh my gosh, did you hear that pop? That was my hip. And that's the chair. Bouncy, bouncy, bounce. Wait. Where's the squeak? There we go. Bouncy, bouncy, bounce. I swear, that's just me bouncing up and down. Oh, jeez. Oh, we went up again, and we have to go down, and then we go here. Sniff the air. Yep, 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 yep. But you can only sense your mate if your inner vampire is active and the mate is around. With this in mind, Harry's vision cleared and he looked into a big, dark chocolate brown eyes. Smiling, he turned around and sensed Severus and a few others following him. Draco, James, Blaze, Theodore, Goyle, Crab, and Pansy. It's like a nursery rhyme. What are they doing? All followed the two as they left the hall. No one spoke as they made their way down into the depth of the dungeon, with Harry leading. Stopping outside their chambers, Harry whispered the Slytherin prince before entering and sitting in front of Severus's armchair. Everyone found a seat in the room. Severus in his armchair. Draco, James, and Theodore on the couch, and the others spread on the floor. What was that with that smile about? Severus asked, leaning forward in his chair. Well, here's this thing. So when vampires, it doesn't matter if you're a boy or a girl, there's this thing called a mate. And I think, kind of an omega shtick for you. You know what I mean? So he can have children. Yeah, anyways. This is where I leave it. Find out more next time. Review, comment, and vote. I want to know your opinion on this chapter. As always, find a mistake, please correct me, as I am only human. I won't be updating for a while because I'll be busy the next few days. What else? Oh, yes. If you want to follow me, you can get updates and a new short story I wrote for English. I am getting the results back tomorrow. Thanks for all the support so far. Also, fun fact about me, because there's an ad coming up. Speaking of, what was it called? Oh, English. I wrote the Jeff, Love Can Kill Jeff the Killer love story for English class. I also wrote, what did I also write for English class that didn't go so well? I don't know. I can't remember it that well. Please let me skip now. Yeah, and she didn't really like it. She was like, this is disgusting. And I was like, well, it ain't for you. You just need to grade it and say if I got all the check marks right. I didn't give a shit. By the way, I failed almost all my classes in middle school. And in high school, I did pretty good in my classes. So, got this. Chapter 7, Mates. Everyone found a seat on the... this is just a review. Harry repositioned himself, so he was kneeling in between... Oh, yikes! Is this actually going to become a orgy or some shit? You know what I mean? I shouldn't have said that word, but... You know what I mean? Because, dang. He stared into Severus's eyes and smiled warmly at him. I'm smiling because I finally found my mate. Bruh! Harry whispered, smiling in amusement, as he saw Severus's eyes widen. There's only one reason why I snapped out of the trance, and didn't kill Weasley. Severus leaned forward so his nose touched Harry's nose. Harry felt warm breath on his face. Guys, can you guys not? I mean, we're here. I'm like, if you, let me, videotape it, everything. You know what I mean. The mating session, everything. I want it. That would be me as Pansy. I ain't gonna lie, because I looked a little bit of ahead in how she acts, because I relate to Pansy in this. Also, I have a big scratch because I used my knife and I wasn't very careful. And it looks like it's gonna scar just like my, what was it? Screw driving incident up my arm. So, that's another story I will tell you later. Okay. Severus leaned. Yeah. Harry felt warm breath on his face as he stared into the other's eyes. And what's that reason? Severus whispered back, almost husky-like. Because I could smell my mate. I hope I didn't smell disgusting, my dude. Sorry. Harry leaned to his face, the extra centimeter, and his lips met Severus's thin, warm ones. Mine, Harry whispered, pulling away as he stood up, and he grabbed one of Severus's hand and sat on his lap. So that's who you are dating? Pansy squealed. That's cute! I ship it! Harry rolled his eyes and glared at Pansy, a glare that could rival Severus's. We aren't dating, Harry said slowly, and everyone in the room raised an eyebrow, apart from Severus. He's my mate, so he has no choice. Okay, I was like, wait, where is this going? I'm he's my mate, so he has no choice. He has to marry me now. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, you never stop surprising us. Or holy bloody demon from hell. Or that's even more reason to ship you two. It could be heard around the room, along with other things. Harry and Severus chuckled at the Slytherin's reaction. Everyone settled down and got talking about things. Harry and Severus just sat together. Severus reading a book and Harry trying not to think bad thoughts. Ooh! Calm down! It's only chapter 7! Unless it's going through their whole life. I mean, together, what happened with the other Snarry story, where, it was his mate and stuff. It was, in high school, then he graduated, and then they have kids together. But I hope it doesn't end the way I hated it when it ended. Because it made me cry. Because, well, yeah, everyone dies, but it, went on and told that Severus died, then Harry died. I'm like, no! But anyways, if it ends, not ends like that, but it's like that story, then it's perfect. But he found himself thinking about how messed up his life was. How he could never have a normal life. Even after the war ended, he was still strange, out of the ordinary, in some shape or form. Yeah, they said form or shape, and I went, no, it's shape or form! Change. It was always change in his life. Most was change, but there was some good change in it. Like becoming a wizard, only to be hunted and attempts of being murdered by an older wizard. It was at this point that Harry realized he was going to have to go through little changes. He suddenly felt depressed and wanted to be an
didn't want to be in anyone else's company. Standing up, Harry made his way over to the bathroom to be alone. He locked the door and erected a silencing charm around the room. Sliding down the door, he started to shake and sob uncontrollably. Images of his past and the war flashed through his closed eyes. Some from the Dursleys, others from having no friends at Hogwarts, from almost losing Severus to losing his loved ones. Harry didn't notice how long he was in there until he heard a knock on the door. Wiping his tears from it, he stood up, opened the door to face with Theodore. "Get out of the bathroom, Potter!" The tall boy sneered down his nose. "I think you've been in there long enough." And with that, Theodore pushed him out of the bathroom and slammed the door shut behind. Oh, he needed to go to the bathroom. I was like, why is he being such a bitch? And I was like, then he pushed him out and he went into the bathroom. I was like, yeah, I'd be bitchy too if someone was taking the longest day in there. Oh my gosh. Harry didn't have to look up to know that every single pair of eyes were on his lowered face. Walking quickly, he made a beeline for the bedroom and quickly locked the door. And put a charm again on it. What? Can I get some peace and quiet? I'm like this when friends are over. Luna. She comes over to my house and I go over to her house a lot. And sometimes I literally say, can I go up and dance? I literally listen to music and just walk around my living room. That's what I call dancing. Literally just walking and listening to music and imagining things. So my creativity doesn't die with me. So I'm literally, my mom used to be like this. I run up in the dark. I'm like, shut up. Let me have some peace and quiet. And quickly locked the door and put charms on again. He ran to the bedroom and a bed on the other side of the room and collapsed face first onto it. Harry! Severus's voice shouted from through the other door, knocking on it, trying to cast some spells to get it open. Open this door! Harry couldn't deny his mate, so he lazily flicked his wrist and the door flew open with a bang. Turning his head to the side, Harry took a breath in and instantly felt a sense of calm as the heavenly smell wafted up his nostrils. I'm sorry, I had to do it. I had to breathe in really hard because it made me think of remember the guy from Vine who he could make his nostrils so big it looked like he could spell shook. I really miss him. Does he have a YouTube channel? Because I wish I could find him again. He's cool. Heavenly smell wafted up his nostrils. Severus walked straight over to the crying Harry. Sitting down on the other side of Harry, he started to slowly rub his back. Glancing up, Severus saw that everyone was staring at them, only to look away and start talking about other things. "You ain't slick, boy!" When they saw him looking. Yeah, "What's wrong, Harry?" Severus whispered, still rubbing his back. Harry sat up, wrapping his arms around Severus's shoulders. He's like a baby. Well, no, not like in a mean way, but more like a toddler. Like they always cling to the mother or the father figure and just stay with them on their lap all the time. Stay with them, cry into the shoulder, whatever. It's kind of a loving relationship, but in a toddler kind of sense. Am I wrong? That's the whole time I was thinking about this. He's acting like a toddler a little bit, isn't he? I don't mean in a mean way. I'm just observing it, like how he's acting. Sheesh. I need to do that. Just go to a group of people and yell it, and then all of a sudden I hear sheesh. I will literally die. Oh my goodness. Okay. Glancing up, Severus saw that. Oh wait. Oh, sorry. Harry sat up and wrapped his arm. Yeah. We get it. Felt strong arms wrap around his back. There's so much change about to happen, isn't there? Harry sobbed into Severus's neck, hiccuping at the end of the sentence. Yes, there is going to be lots of change, but that's part of life. Sometimes it's good change, other times it's bad change. You're just going to have to accept the good and bad changes, and keep on keeping on. My head hurts! You make my head hurt. Okay. Severus whispered into Harry's ear. What happens if people start to care about, or start to care about getting left behind, or they leave me behind? Harry pulled back and wiped his face from the light red tears. Well, you will always have me to come to if you are in need of something, Severus said, pulling Harry up and walking back out his bedroom. Closing the door on the way, leading Harry over to his armchair. Once Harry was settled on Severus's lap, he noticed that Theodore was back and glaring at him. What had he done? He just didn't understand, and it terrified him to the Milky Way and back. He hated with a passion not knowing things, along with change, but he knew he needed to stop fearing these things. Harry turned his head and rested it lightly on the nook of Severus's neck, breathing in that sweet smell, calming slightly at his mate's scent. Harry was focused on trying to breathe first before he did anything else. A while later, Harry turned into the conversation the group was having. Draco was going on a rant about food, and you can't just have marshmallows by itself. You have to have melted chocolate and with strawberries and chopped exactly in half. Otherwise, the dish will be ruined. Draco spoke with an air of confidence, and everyone who knows what they are talking about. Harry snorted and rolled his eyes, turning towards Severus. He locked eyes with him, only to flick his eyes between the lips and his eyes. Do you have a kitchen? You already know he has a kitchen, bitch! What the fuck? Harry whispered loud, enough for only Severus to hear. With a quick nod, a finger in the direction, Harry made his way over to the closed door. Upon opening the door, he found a large, roomy kitchen with a dining table that could fit 10 people comfortably, and even have an extension charm on it to fit more people if need be. I can read, and they put the in there, and I'm like, The kitchen was set up in the huge U with a little island in the middle. It had a stove, a microwave, dishwasher, and a fridge, and lots of drawers. You mean drawers? Around the room. Okay. It's drawers, not draws. Okay. Drawers around the room filled with other sorts of
sort of appliances. Harry walked over to the back of counter while running his hand along the front counter. He surveyed the small bench or area that connected the front. So today is Saturday. So this is Saturday night. Okay, I'm thinking about this. This is Saturday night. And he surveyed the small bench area that connected the front and back and noticed that it had the stove, fridge, and dishwasher. Moving into the kitchen, Harry looked around for the ingredients and utensils he needed. He set a tall pot on the stove, a blender, the back counter, on the back counter, a dicing board on the front counter, and 2 trays of black peppers sprayed with a bit of olive oil. Next was the ingredients. Checking the fridge and cupboard, Harry found all the required items: chocolate bars, milk, marshmallows, strawberries, mint, chocolate, cookies, cream ice cream. Why is my dad's here? I'm like, it ain't 4 yet. And I need to change. He, what is it? Oh, by the way, always pay attention to chocolate on the stove because that will burn. It burns very easily. Even white chocolate. White chocolate burns faster than any other chocolate for some reason. Mint chocolate, cookies, and cream ice cream, and some bananas. Not a big fan of bananas, but to each their own. I had a bad experience. Another story time later. The first thing he did was put all the marshmallows on one tray. I would literally put that sucker on fire. Marshmallows. I like melty marshmallows. You know what I would do? I'm like, can you just keep out graham crackers, some chocolate, and the marshmallows? I'll toast my own damn marshmallows. Move over. I'll do it. And I can have all the s'mores I want. Anyways. Next, he decided to melt all the chocolate. Wait, what? Didn't I do that? Yeah, he put all the marshmallows on the 2 trays and placed them in the stove. He knew he had to leave them until they were golden brown. I never tried the stove. I need to try that. So he set a spell to alert him when that was done. I wish that was that easy. Next, he decided to melt all the chocolate. So, turning to the stove, he broke up and placed all the 6 bars into the pot. So, you're going to mix milk, mint. Did you say dark? That'll be good. I'm not a big milk chocolate fan. It depends, because milk chocolate can taste really, really, really gross at times. So turning on the stove top, Harry, he broke up already. Giving it a little stir, he moved on to the next thing. Harry washed the strawberries in the sink and in the front counter, and then placed them all on the dicing board. All in all, Harry chopped about 45 strawberries in half. So, it's 90 strawberry pieces. I can do math! Sorry. The alarm went off as Harry finished chopping the strawberries. Rushing over to the oven, Harry grabbed the 2 trays out carefully and placed them on the stove. They didn't say he wore mittens or stove toppers on his hands. Whatever. Seeing the chocolate, he gave it a few stirs and got back to the marshmallows.
Harry he must have it on a really low temperature because going through 45 individual strawberries and cutting them in half and cutting off the tops and washing them, you must have it on like low or even less, like simmer for the chocolate, which is a good idea. I should try that because then it would like burn less and you have other things to do. Sorry, I had to say that. Harry cast a spell on them to keep the marshmallows warm, gooey, and a bit crunchy. Yes. Looking under in the drawers, he found the amount of bowls he needed. 9. Harry said 4, so 10 people get 10 pieces of strawberry. I get it. I feel dumb. Whoops. Sorry. 10 pieces of strawberry, 9 people. Yeah. Harry set 4 marshmallows in each bowl and 8 of strawberry, the halves, so there was 4 full strawberries in each bowl. Am I dumb? Because I thought I did the math correctly. Needed one more element for the bowl. Harry stirred the rest of the chocolate until every last bit became smooth. Taking the pot off the stovetop, he poured the contents straight into all the bowls. Satisfied with the finished product, he moved on to making the smoothies. Smoothies? Well, damn, you're fancy, schmancy. He didn't take long for Harry to make 9 smoothies, as he set all the items on the table and walked out into the lounge. Harry walked over to Severus and leaned down to whisper in his ear. "I've made dessert for all of us," he whispered quietly. "Do you want to get everyone into the dining room?" Seeing him nod, Harry stood back up straight, and when Severus rose from his chair and clapped his hands, everyone his hands together. Once he got everyone's attention, desserts are being served in the dining room, Severus announced and walked over to the dining room kitchen, with Harry close behind the rest after him. That's all for this chapter. I'm sure I'm such a tease. Thank you for all your votes and comments left. I don't think you realize how much it affects someone until you actually write something that has had over 3,000 views. So to all my followers out there, thank you. I know you guys have been waiting forever for the next update, but life happened. School is getting hard, and it's important I do well this year. But hey, I just have to keep on keeping on. Just keep on going. Let's just keep that. I'm on holiday for 2 weeks, so I'm hoping that I can get a few chapters in before I go back. And just so you guys know, my story got an A-, so I will be posting it up here sometime shortly. But for now, stay cool. Comment if you find a mistake. Vote, review, and let me know what your opinions are. Keep on going, and I'll get the next chapter up ASAP. Okay, guys, I'm going to end it here because my voice is hurting, and I have to go to church tonight and scream at little kids. So,
Hi! Thank you guys for watching. I hope you liked it very much. Give it a big thumbs up and comment down below what you think will happen next. Do you think they're going to have children? I think they are. I think that it's possible in that world to have children when you are a male. And I hope they are, because that would be cool. Well, anyways, guys, before my voice goes out, I love you guys so much. Give it a big thumbs up. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you haven't yet, put on push notifications. And I love you so much. Bye-bye. Wait, I forgot to say something. My graduation is this Friday, and I am going to be posting a link to my graduation live, so you can watch it. It's going to be Central Time at 7 o'clock. No, 7:30. No. Yeah, 7:30. It's going to start, and you get to if you want to see, you get to see me graduate. Okay, guys, bye.